Hello, this is Colin Coyle, and today I'll be presenting the main points and synopsis of my Cosmopolitan paper on the regeneration of Barcelona. So, kind of the whole thing starts after the death of Franco and kind of the end of the whole Francoism regime. And after that, Barcelona establishes a democracy. And with that, we see a lot of changes that begin to take place throughout the city. And a lot of these changes are attributed to, yes, the establishment of democracy in Barcelona, but also the coming 1992 Olympics that also had a lot to do with the drive to remodel Barcelona and make it more of the city it is today. So to mainly start, one of the big things that came with the remodel of Barcelona was the creation of more public spaces. And the goal of these parks and open spaces was kind of to promote social mixing between the neighborhoods and social classes. Prior to that, Barcelona was very segregated when it was into regards with nicer neighborhoods and more low class neighborhoods. There wasn't a lot of intermingling. So, what the city tried to do was create social events and host stuff like that, and also revitalize these parks to kind of promote more social interaction. This also came with the kind of ventilation, re renovation of museums and libraries. This was also to promote more of the social gathering aspect. Another thing happened, social housing. A lot more of that was created with building over old housing and manufacturing plants that were no longer really being used a lot. So with that, social living kind of increased with quality as well as price and quantity, which we'll get to in the other part. Um, Another part that was big is the rise of the service industry. Prior, Spain as a whole, and Barcelona included, was very big in manufacturing, and after that, it kind of became more of a service-centric industry, especially in the city. I have stats in my paper that discuss how um, manufacturing was declining, and then I believe by the early 2000s, Barcelona was 70% of its economy in the service industry. So that's something that also kind of was very pushed in this new Barcelona model. And again, like all this was very done to attract tourism. The Olympics brought in people, and they wanted to make a good impression to get year-round returning visitors. Something that they succeeded at, and Barcelona today is a very tourist-centric place, and they rely heavily on it for its economic well-being. So then I kind of got into some of the issues and problems that arised from all these changes. For one, the cost of living increased by a lot. These new social housing were charged, cost a lot of money to live in them, especially the rent. Because they want to attract in richer people, want people to have homes there, but at the cost of people in the city already who could not afford these homes, they were forced to kind of move out more in the outskirts of the city, which is another problem. They felt that the face of Barcelona, like the main areas, received a lot of renovation and a lot of attention, whereas the outskirts weren't really getting the same amount of affection, and this led to kind of a unbalance of the city. And then also with tourism, people felt that these public spaces that were made for social mixing has kind of been taken over by tourists. A lot of areas where once it to promote social mixing are now just tourist sites where people don't really have the appeal to go to anymore, which is a common thing. I've seen that firsthand from my end. And also, there's just a lot of imbalance. People feel that the tourists are more getting more attention when it comes to policies regarding tourists than the actual citizens of Barcelona and things like welfare, etc. So overall, like my conclusion was, Barcelona faced a lot of changes, mostly for the good, but it led to some bad from a citizen standpoint, as well as you can say, just from looking at it from overall. But my whole main point was that I feel like this is a problem with every major city, especially when revitalizing. I mean, I don't really know of any cities where there isn't an imbalance between the people who live there and the people it attracts. At the end of the day, it's money that drives most people. So it doesn't surprise me that tourism is taking a central role, and that it's all really about building the brand of what Barcelona is today, whether it's for good or bad. Thank you.